I feel like I've been really open on this channel about the fact that I go to therapy, and I've been going to therapy for over 4 years now. I have said it before and I'll say it again until the cows come home, that therapy is the single greatest investment I have ever made in my life. Being self-employed, I pay for my therapy sessions out of pocket, and I pay anywhere between $125 and $190 per session, depending on the type of therapy that I'm receiving that day. And it's not lost on me the amount of privilege that I have to be able to afford these services out of pocket. That is not the situation for a majority of people out there, and it makes me sad to think about how inaccessible traditional talk therapy is. But that's a topic for another video. In today's video, I want to talk about 5 alternatives to therapy if paying for therapy the traditional route simply isn't feasible for you right now. The first recommendation I have for you is called sliding scale therapy. As part of their code of ethics, many therapists are encouraged to offer sliding scale pricing to accommodate the needs of those who might be of limited resources. This literally means you can get the same quality of service one-on-one session, but at a reduced price. This reduced fee can be predetermined by the therapist or negotiated by the client in a pay what you can type of manner. Don't be embarrassed or feel awkward about having to inquire about these types of services, because they exist specifically for people in circumstances like yours. The second recommendation that I'd have to make is to look for nonprofits or community mental health centers. These are centers that offer low cost or even free services, and they're able to do it this way because they're subsidized by third-party funding, whether from the government or from private donors. Some community mental health centers, for example, offer services that are covered by Medicaid. The drawback of getting your treatment from centers like this, of course, is that oftentimes the wait list can be really long. I always say, if that were the case, to put your name down anyways, because there's nothing lost in putting your name down. Also, here's a tip. This is one that I've used in the past, is if you have a specific condition that's been diagnosed, there may be nonprofits or community mental health centers that specifically cater to people with your diagnosis. For example, if you have a mood disorder, there could be specific mood disorder clinics in which the wait lists for the services they provide aren't as long. Number 3, group therapy or support groups. I feel like we all know what group therapy looks like, or what a support group looks like. It's where you have a cohort of people who are experiencing similar things, whether it's depression, anxiety, addiction, what have you, and they get together for a group therapy session that is often led by a trained mental health clinician. So this way you're able to get the benefit of therapy at a fraction of the cost, with the added value of peer-to-peer support. The thing that I want to add here is just the notion of not underestimating the value of being able to open up amongst a group of trusted peers. There is so much value in being seen and being heard and being able to be vulnerable and to feel supported. I believe personally so much of what I get from my relationship with my therapist isn't even necessarily from the pure utility of what I get from those sessions with her, or from the things that I specifically learn from her, but rather it's knowing that there is at least one person out there who I can show up to completely as myself and can feel comfortable and open about opening myself up to, and talking about things that I wouldn't even normally talk to my own closest friends about. I would imagine that you can derive that benefit from a group therapy setting as well. Number 4, co-counseling. So co-counseling is similar to group therapy, only without the involvement of a trained mental health clinician guiding you through the sessions. It's less regulated, but it doesn't necessarily have to be less structured. So essentially, this is what co-counseling is. It's where 2 or more people, so let's say 2 in this example, take turns serving as counselors to the other person. Perhaps in one half of the session, one person takes on the role of the counselor and the other the client, and then in the second half of the session, they switch roles. I want to add that with the normalization of online communication tools, and especially video chat, that finding a co-counselor has never been easier before. And if you're interested in co-counseling, but you might feel a little restricted within your immediate networks, I would encourage you to look outside of it. And there are so many amazing communities of people online that are supporting one another virtually. It's not a stretch to think that any one interaction you have with a complete stranger on the other side of the world can turn into a co-counseling sort of relationship made possible via video chat. If you want to learn more about co-counseling, I'm going to provide some resources in the description box below. With that said, we're going to move on to number 5. Last but not least, bibliotherapy. Bibliotherapy is the act of reading for therapeutic effect. And this can include self-help books, but is not limited to it. For the purpose of this discussion, I am going to narrow my definition of what I mean by a self-help book. So when I say self-help book, I don't necessarily mean books with really marketable titles, bestsellers like The 4-Hour Workweek or Girl, Wash Your Face. Those books have a place, but what I mean here are titles often written by mental health professionals with years and years of experience in their field, and have written books that serve as a guide for anybody on their healing journey or therapeutic process. I actually have a whole long list of recommended reading for you that I'm going to provide for you in the description box below. It's going to be a link to my blog. So if you want to check that out, visit the link in the description box below, and I will have something for you. I hope to see you there, actually. That'd be really nice. Bibliotherapy is something I continue to incorporate into my life to supplement the traditional therapeutic process, and even on its own. Reading books has always been something that I've found tremendous value from. A recommendation that I would have is to listen to an audiobook. I prefer audiobooks because they are flexible and portable, and something about having another voice in the room makes me feel comforted. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. I wanted to applaud you, not just for making it this far, but even for giving me the opportunity and trusting me to deliver this information to you. I also want to applaud you for taking the initiative to look for resources beyond what is traditionally prescribed to you. Something that's just been a huge joy about putting out these videos, even though at this point my subscriber count, isn't the most mind-blowing. Just the fact that I'm able to interact with you guys in the comment section and learn about your experiences makes me feel like a bump in that statistic isn't just a statistic. It's one more person who's found me via these videos, and it's one more person who is now a part of this community. You guys encourage me a lot to continue to come back every week to make videos like this, so I want to thank you for that as well. If you're new and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, and I will see you in my future videos.